everybody, Tyrone the Guy 3 here, and Natalie and I are supposed to be doing the next part of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters Marathon Madness Mayhem Monstravaganza, but we've been hacked. We've been hacked by some blue-haired, uppity-ass stepchild.
Weird little shorts.
Right. So no, you're not. Things aren't deceiving you. We're still doing the review in chronological order, with the Battle City tournament obviously being the thing that we reviewed, and clearly there's still more duelists in the Battle City tournament. However, Natalie and I will be taking on a little something that decided to crash into the middle of it all, and that is the Noah arc. And no, I'm not talking about the biblical story of Noah and his ark full of animals. I'm talking about the character and antagonist and stepbrother to Kaiba and Mokuba, Noah, and his entire villainous arc against our protagonist. Oh man, it's also called the virtual world, and some people call it the Noah's Ark in order to differentiate it. So, just opening thoughts, Natalie, what did you think of just this happening in the middle of nowhere? What, like, your first impression of when it happened?
It annoyed me very much. Because, well, yeah, I was thinking yesterday, I don't even think we mentioned who actually won between Bakura and Merrick, but it happens right after. Bakura's in the hospital like 2 times over. He's dead. And then it just cuts, because they're like, finals are tomorrow.
Which adds the casualty to 4, by the way. It adds the number of casualties to 4.
Right, so it's like, I was kind of waiting for the finals, what I just watched like 20 episodes for, but okay, let's do this, I guess.
Alright, well, this was definitely different to me. I was so, caught off guard by it. I thought it was something that they were going to manage to fix within the confines of this one episode. No, This is life. This is just what we're dealing with.
This is half of season 3.
I think as a kid, this was the first real time a filler saga had approached to me in any form of anime. Because Pokemon has always had filler. But the filler happens intertwined with the plot itself.
Right.
So, you'll get an episode where Ash gets a badge, catch a Pokemon, and then you'll get filler. Or, one of his traveling companions, catches a Pokemon, then you get another thing of filler. It sort of is interwoven in the plot. This is the first time I've really seen something where there's a clear objective happening, and then in the middle of all of it, it just sort of breaks. And I don't see this again for real in any other anime until, Bleach. So, it's so weird to see this take place, and just my first impressions of it was so confused. I was more confused than upset. I think you were obviously angry. You were upset about it, but I was just like,
I want my Battle City.
Exactly. I was just like, so are we just gonna leave Merrick at the blimp? I mean, he's still there.
Yeah.
Oh, so when we get into this, Kaiba and the others are headed to the location of the Battle City Finals in Alcatraz in the Japanese version. It's called Kaiba Tower in the American version, which, alright, cool. But the blimp...
Why not?
Yeah, why not? But the blimp gets hacked. And because the blimp gets hacked, it's making a beeline towards the area of Alcatraz. And when it makes the crash landing onto there, basically there's a computer system forcing literally all the important characters on the blimp to get out. And head towards the area, and they learn that they are dealing yet again with the Big Five, the same Big Five that worked with Pegasus to get Kaiba, Yugi, and Mokuba killed, the same Big Five that got defeated the last time during Legendary Heroes that Yugi, Joey, Mai, and Kaiba beat, the very same ones that Kaiba has fired, only this time they actually have identities. They have characters.
Yay!
Yay! So the list goes as follows. So the Big Five, as of now, include Gansley, Crump, Johnson, Nesbit, and Lecter. The most evilest names you can think of across all of these old men. Jesus Christ. These names, like Gansley, Nesbit?
I am Mrs.
Like,
Nesbit.
right, the only one that sounds remotely normal is Johnson. Like his is like the one.
And Johnson.
And he's like the lawyer, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Because each of the Big Five has a gimmick where they all are a part of, like, the Kaiba Corporation's head board, so they help run the company. And these guys went from being a company that had mass-produced weapons of destruction to video games.
Right.
It's such a reversion back. Oh, goodness. So, because of this, they clearly want revenge on Kaiba and Yugi for some reason. I guess because Yugi has foiled, their whole Kaiba Corp shtick. And because of this, to take it out on everybody, they apparently, and this is never revealed in the dub at all, but it's implied that the members of the Big Five got killed when Yugi and Kaiba worked together to defeat the Mystic Dragon. Their bodies were destroyed, but their minds have been preserved in virtual reality this whole time. And they're dealing with not just these 5 members, but they're also dealing with a 6th person, which is Noah. Now, for those who don't know, Noah is the 3rd Kaiba brother. Well, technically he's the 1st, but he
Right.
is the Kaiba brother that actually is the birth son of their father, Gozaburo Kaiba. We get a lot of Kaiba backstory. So first of all, what do you think of that? What do you think of Kaiba and Mokuba getting all this lore now?
I love the lore. That's like pretty much the only part of this arc I really remember. I kind of tune out all the duels, but I remember the backstory.
My favorite part of this lore is the fact that Kaiba is like challenging Gozaburo. Like this old dude is challenging this little kid to a game of chess and he gets pwned.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if I win, you have to adopt both of us. what a ridiculous,
such a power move. Imagine
right?
This child, this orphan coming up to you like, you gotta adopt me if you lose.
Right.
It's so funny.
And he wins. That's the funny part. It's just like he wins. And Gozaburo like gives Kaiba millions of dollars, and he's like, I want you to turn that into $10 million
Yeah.
by the end of this week.
Oh my god.
And it's so ridiculous because you got to look at it and see that Kaiba's still a kid when all this takes place. So it's just so ridiculous, and Kaiba doesn't have enough shares to buy Kaiba Corp. So Mokuba gives some of his shares, which is like 2%. Just enough.
Yeah.
Just enough to give Kaiba enough to own Kaiba Corp. And it's clear that a kid is owning the company when they were, producing mass weapons. Now they're like doing card game stuff and video game stuff.
Yeah.
It's great. Basically,
Actually,
it's like
that makes me think, like, I really want the lore of, like, right after Kaiba won and he's running this company at, like, 13 years old.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want.
Yeah. He literally turns, like, I guess if we were to put it into perspective, he essentially took the Tony Stark, how he made mass weapons.
Yeah.
He turned that into Nintendo. He turned it into Nintendo, and that's how we got here today. Now, the whole gimmick of the Big Five, their whole plot is to take over bodies so they can get back to the real world. That's why they took so many people, so they can have several options. And they got to split the gang up in order to ambush them to take over their bodies, but they have to challenge them to a duel first, which... whatever, because
Sure.
they want to create their own tournament, I guess. And I'm like, we're in a tournament.
It's a tournament within a tournament.
A tournamentception, yeah. So it goes as follows: Yugi gets separated by himself. Taya is in like this like Grand Canyon like area that eventually is in the Arctic later. Then Joey is in like a mansion. Duke, Serenity, and Tristan are all in like a castle. Kaiba and Mokuba get teleported somewhere, and so basically everybody gets split up, and the whole thing here is that they're each dueling the members of the Big Five, and they've changed the rules a little bit. Same rules as dueling from before, but now they have deck masters, and what these are is that like a monster that the duelists themselves choose in order to represent their entire deck, like a mascot, if you will. But if that monster gets destroyed, they lose the duel. What did you think of this slight change in the rules?
I kind of liked it just because, you know, it kind of shows like, oh, this gives the character more of an identity. Like, this is their partner, and it's like, that's cute. And I guess it's got the raised stakes of if they die, that's it. But
if you die in the game, thoughts. You die for real.
Yeah.
Again.
Like, well, literally every game is like this.
Right. So it's just, yeah, I thought it was pretty nice. I mean, like, we got some pretty interesting deck masters. I believe Yugi chose, who did he choose? Kaiser Seahorse as his first deck master?
I know Karibo picks himself. He's
yeah. Karibo does pick himself. Yeah. Because
it's cute.
Mascot. It's because of the mascot. Because he turns into Rainbow Karibo.
Yeah.
So Karibo is a full supporter of gay pride, which is good. Very progressive on Karibo's part.
Yes.
And then Gansley's deck master is Deep Sea Warrior. Now, since we're here, I think this is the first duel that happened in this arc. Well, there's a simulated duel with Kaiba, but that doesn't count. What do you think of Gansley as a character? We'll use this time to discuss him.
That's a good question, because a lot of the big five still blur together for me.
Yeah.
So, I don't even remember, like, what was Gansley's thing?
Okay.
Like, obviously, like, Johnson was a lawyer and stuff, and...
Yeah, I can't remember Gansley's... I know one of them is, like, Kaiba's financial advisor or something. I believe Gansley is the vice president of business strategies.
That's
so
boring.
I guess, and that probably leads into something that you do bring up a good point about. Even though they split the Big Five up, they don't get enough time as development separately in order for us to care. It sort of just seems like they're just duelists that Yugi and the others need to beat as a means to an end.
Right.
So, Gansley's definitely the most boring out of them, which is sad because he's dueling Yugi of all people. You would think that would make him slightly more interesting, but it's not.
Right.
I guess with this duel, too, we can just sort of, like, move on. Is there anything you want to say about this duel other than gay pride, Karibo?
No, that's all I remember is Karibo going across the rainbow to win.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one's a bit more interesting, and it's not even for the person that's dueling. It's for the person that is they're dueling against. So the next person's Crump. A weird name, by the way. Crump. He uses Nightmare Penguin as his deck master. His name is Adrian Randolph Crump III, by the way, and he is their accountant. He oversees the company's finances. So numbers are literally, he crunches numbers as a living. But he's not the most interesting part, obviously, right? It's who he duels. So Taya has not had an official duel since what? My Valentine? And Mai gave up that duel so that she could win. Taya actually participates in this, and she's dueling by herself. She's fighting off against Crump herself. This is her own individual duel. What did you think of this?
I like that, she really got a chance to actually duel for herself. And, of course, she ends up with Dark Magician Girl as her deck master.
Of course.
It's like, cute girl team.
Well, can I comment on that real fast?
Yeah.
Because here's what bugs me about Taya. When Taya was introduced in during the first season with the Duelist Kingdom, she dueled Mai so that she can get Yugi star chips back, or get Yugi some star chips or confidence or whatever. Her whole deck revolved around fairy monsters, right? So it bugs me that just because Dark Magician Girl's introduced now, she immediately has changed to using Dark Magician Girl as her staple. And it's like, why? Oh, because she's Yugi's love interest. And Dark Magician Girl is Dark Magician's love interest. So I don't know, it bugs me. It just really bugs me. Because fairy cards, while they do look weak at first, if you actually look into some of the fairy cards, they're actually nothing to sneeze at. Like, they're pretty good monsters if you go something like the really good fairy type monsters. Taya just wound up using the cutesy ones because girl. And I don't know, this feels so like, oh, she's supposed to be Yugi's girlfriend, so she's got to use Yugi's sloppy seconds ass girlfriend deck.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, but regardless, Taya wins the duel. I believe Dark Magician Girl talks and gives her advice in the duel.
Yeah, and actually it's like because Yugi's nearby and like Taya has a card that can summon another magician, so it comes out of Yugi's deck onto her field and helps win.
So in other words, she's cheating.
Pretty much.
Oh my goodness. So. I mean, what the weird part is, Taya's won this duel, which means she's beaten Joey, she's beaten Mai, and she's beaten Crump. She's undefeated.
This is Taya. Oh, we don't need Yugioh.
Exactly.
Like,
right. Yugi lost against Kaiba. Taya is invincible. So we move on to the next one, though, and this one's pretty standard. It's Joey's dueling against, I think this is their lawyer. His name's Johnson. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's their lawyer. Yeah. Oh goodness, and his deck master is the Judge Man. What do you think of this one?
It's another, like, I just remember the intro to their duel is weird because Johnson's like pretending to be Mai, which freaks me out.
That's weird.
But yeah, like Joey like walks into Mai's room and then it's like, oh no, it's actually this dude. Hey, duel me. I'm like, what the hell?
What also weirds me out is that he is a lawyer, yet he chooses Judge Man, and he treats the duel as if it's a court case, and it's just like,
yeah,
if you're the lawyer, why are you being the judge? The judge, the attorney, and the executioner looking at.
Right.
Yeah, this one's another standard one to me. I think they just put this one in so Joey can have an enemy to fight. Mm-hmm. So fine. Yeah, like Joey and Yugi's duels are probably the most boring out of the Big Five, and I think it's because with the others, at least we get other characters, dueling to sort of give us more development on them, because that's mainly what, because these are just bosses, these are just standard boss battles to me. Yeah. The next one's pretty interesting, like super interesting, because we're talking bottom of the barrel right now. I think, well, at least for two of them. The next one is Nesbit. Oh boy, Nesbit. Nesbit. He's Chief Technical Officer and Engineer. Nesbit. He gets a little bit more screen time than the others. He's dueling against Serenity, Duke Devlin, and Tristan Taylor. Oh boy. First, let's ask, what do you think about Nesbit as a character, and then we'll move on to the duel.
I don't know. I mean, like you said, he gets a little more development, so I remember him more than like Gansley. But the whole robot thing is kind of funny. Yeah, his deck master is Robotic Knight, which I guess makes sense. Yeah.
Oh boy, Nesbit. I think we'll save some of what we're wanted to talk about with him for later, obviously, because it comes after the duel. But yeah, I don't really know what to say about him outside of that, though. I know we'll move on to the duelists themselves. We'll start with the obvious. We'll start with Duke Devlin first, since he's the least obvious out of all of them. Duke Devlin dueling. Mm-hmm. Which wasn't that long ago, but yeah.
Yeah, because he never had like an actual duel. But doesn't he still uses like dice cards and stuff, right?
Yeah, because he's Duke Devlin, he's got to follow his gimmick, so.
Right.
Yeah, so
it's kind of nice to see that he can duel, because like, especially, I think they even mention it, like, compared to Tristan and Serenity, he's like, well, shit, I guess I'm the best one out of this group.
He is. He's essentially the leader in this trio. Wait, Nesbit challenges all three duelists at once, and it's just like... Yeah. Alright, and I believe in order to make up for that, Nesbit, I think, has more life points to compensate for the fact that he's dueling three duelists at once. I think.
Which is interesting.
I think. I don't know. I might be wrong on that. But, yeah, so with Nesbit dueling all three, obviously the second one is Tristan. What do you think of Tristan dueling? Because this is his first official duel in the series.
Yeah. I mean, it's not surprising to me because I'm used to him being included in the games and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, it's kind of nice to see him duel because like how we mentioned way back in Duelist Kingdom that he's kind of the character where if you're not into the card game, it's like, oh, I'm just one of the people who would be on the side. So it's kind of cool to see Tristan kind of apply what maybe he's seen. But
yeah, I do like and that's one thing, like, and you mentioned this before, that's one thing that makes the Big Five saga so great, though, is that we get to actually see background characters actually come to the forefront, because if nothing else, if a filler saga is going to be a filler saga, but it's how you treat it, I think, is what's most important. And they chose to develop characters with their filler saga, and they do it in a way that doesn't harm the plot, so I'm not angry at it. Like, it doesn't bug me. It's not the best fillers. It's not the best saga in Yu-Gi-Oh! By any means, but it does at least take the time to focus on characters we do know and put them into a new light that we never stop to take the time to think about. What if Taya duels? What if Tristan duels? How do these duelists, or how do these non-duelists duel? What is their style of doing something that they normally are sitting on the sidelines watching? And with that said, the last duelist, oh boy, Serenity Wheeler. Serenity Wheeler, what do you think of her dueling?
I mean, I feel like she doesn't even duel. It's more that Tristan and Duke are just trying to help her not lose.
Pick up her slack so she doesn't lose her body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, kind of sucks.
Yeah, I think she makes like one or two good moves in the duel, but they're like unintentional. Serenity dueling to me is like the I got no business being here duel. Like I don't even know how to fucking play. Why am I here?
Yeah.
It's like when you give your younger brother a controller and it's like, go, we need you. And it's like, really?
You're that desperate?
Oh God, and the weird part is that she's not even the one that loses.
Yeah.
Unfortunately it's Tristan. Tristan's the one that takes the dive here. But the catch is that they beat Nesbit thanks to Tristan's last ditch card that he put face down before he lost. But since they beat Nesbit, normally Nesbit would lose, but he decides to take the opportunity to take Tristan's body since he lost anyway. And so, since he's taken Tristan's body ends up getting replaced with a monkey. Acrobatic monkey, to be more precise. So now Tristan's in the body of an acrobatic monkey. And any thoughts on that joke?
I mean, it gets old and it's very ridiculous, but I just can't help but laugh about it because it's very memorable. Like, literally part of the plot. You could tell someone, hey, one of the characters is a robot monkey.
Oh Lord.
Just because.
I get it sucks because they basically Yamcha Tristan. He needed to be the fall. Like one character needs to lose and they had a plethora to pick from. And I guess they didn't want to pick Serenity because Serenity doesn't have enough development to start getting possessed. Like if she gets possessed, that's mostly what we would know her character for, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
maybe for once they were like, we have too many ladies in distress. Let's have Tristan go.
Right. So okay, and then after that, they just sort of deal with that for a while too, by the way. And the next one will take until we're not going to get straight to the next Big Five member just yet, because I want to focus on something that I know is happening in between all of this, and that is our character Noah, and his no, we can't move on because this part hasn't happened yet. So the next duelist is Lecter. I'm sorry. So the next one's Lecter, and Lecter is what are you? He's a Gozaburo's assistant. He's the yes man. What the fuck? He's just Kaiba's assistant. He's just the yes man to Kaiba's. Oh goodness. But
nice job.
Yeah, Lecter duels Kaiba, and Kaiba beats the crap out of. What did you think of this duel?
I mean, I guess it's more entertaining than the other ones, but I don't know.
Yeah, we already.
It's a low bar here.
He doesn't even pick a memorable deck master because he picks Jinzo as his deck master, and it's like we've already seen Jinzo though. So what are you doing? Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Kaiba beats him. I mean, like, there's no other real way to. It's just,
that's it.
Joey Yugi and Kaiba got the most standard duels, and I think it's because we've seen them duel so many times. Seeing them duel people like suit and ties, like Lecter, Gansley, and Johnson, are just like, okay, they beat another henchman, I guess. Yeah. Sure. So yeah, I think we do get a lot of backstory of Kaiba Corp because of this duel, though. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just learn like how pissed Lecter is that Kaiba essentially turned Kaiba Corp into Toyland. I believe he has an accent too. That's what makes it kind of funny. He's like Mr. Kaiba. I gotta stop that there cutting.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it's freaking. Oh, his name is so like he's such a corporate like evil big head. Just like Lecter, really, like Hannibal Lecter. Oh, but yeah, it's your standard duel. Kaiba curb stomps him. However, afterwards, a lot of intense stuff happens. So after all of this takes place, Kaiba meets up with the others, and Nesbit is in Tristan's body. And Kaiba and Nesbit have this, I'll say, sword fight, just without swords.
Yeah.
They're like fighting with wooden sticks and metal pipes and crap.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And Mokuba gets kidnapped again, and in the most brutal way possible this time. He kidnaps Mokuba and punches him in the stomach and then rides away with his motorcycle. And this was not censored. This is in the original. 4 Kids just punches him in the stomach, knocks him unconscious, and rides off into the wind. It's almost like 4 Kids was like off that day.
Right.
So what did you think of Mokuba getting kidnapped for like the 4th time?
Well, yeah. Literally, is this maybe the 3rd time? Literally, pretty much.
I want to say it's the 4th because he got kidnapped in Duelist Kingdom. He got kidnapped again in the virtual reality game.
Oh yeah, okay, virtual reality.
Yeah, and then he got kidnapped again by Merrick.
And then Noah. So it's just a villain's rite of passage that you've got to get Mokuba.
You have to steal Mokuba to bring Kaiba to you as the plot.
Yes.
And Nesbit brings Mokuba to Noah, and this is what I really wanted to talk about. So, first of all, what are your impressions on Noah now that we finally have the plot focused on him?
I don't know, like when he's in his chair or whatever before, he's just kind of like bratty. I mean, it's the same thing that all villains go. They're just kind of hanging back until they actually get to do something. So once he's actually there, Noah kind of creeps me out.
Yeah.
So,
Noah's.
I don't know.
Yeah, Noah's whole backstory, because we'll go over it now. Noah's backstory as to why he's even here in the first place. So, he is the biological son of Kaiba and Mokuba's adoptive dad, Gozaburo Kaiba. Noah grew up as a great kid. He had everything. He's rich, so of course he's gonna have everything. And tragedy strikes him, unfortunately. They made a virtual world. Gozaburo made a virtual world for Noah to play in. Unfortunately, tragedy strikes when Noah gets hit by a car. Mm-hmm. And he's dead. He's dead. In the Japanese version, he's dead. And the American version, and this is so weird, actually. In the American version, they say Noah's still alive. He's just in a vegetative state. Which, to me, personally, sounds more dark than if they had just killed him. Because now he's alive, but not alive. And that is scarier to me than death. Being permanently immobile, to me, is scarier than death. Because you're alive, you just can't do nothing. What do you think of that difference? Because, oh boy.
Yeah, that's kind of, it's interesting how 4 Kids is like, no, we can't talk about death, but that's what they do. Like, that's kind of what the Shadow
We can't talk about death, but we can talk about comatose.
Right, yeah, like you can all be in comas. You're not gonna die. You'll just live in this purgatory for the rest of your life, like quote unquote. Which is like, oh, that's worse.
I
So,
right. So
yeah.
yeah, it just okay. So after that, Gozaburo gets pissed and he wants a chance to give Noah a life. So his mind is technically still alive, but not his body. So Noah just sort of roams in the virtual world. And around the time that the Big Five lost to Yugi and the gang and the Domino City stuff, which I like the continuity. Yeah, filler arcs connecting and stuff. That's cool. Because of that, though, he was able to contact the Big Five, and they were able to make a plot in order to defeat Kaiba and the others, and here we are today. And one of Noah's alternate goals not only is to take over Kaiba Corp, but he wants a brother, and he wants Mokuba to be his brother, and it's creepy. It's definitely creepy. He has this weird pose where he's got his arms wrapped around Mokuba, and he's hugging him in ways that I wouldn't hug my brother in. He's just having like a grand old time with Mokuba, and it is weird. What do you think? What do you think of this?
That's pretty much my summary of it. It's very odd.
I would insist that you stop. Like, oh boy, Noah.
And I guess they did that just so it comes off as creepy, because maybe if Noah seemed like he genuinely wanted a brother, he wouldn't be as threatening. So maybe that's why it's so weird. But ooh.
Yeah, the weirdest part about all of this though is that also when Noah is like having this close relationship with Mokuba, again, this is way too creepy to be on 4Kids. So but I guess they couldn't censor all of it, so they just was like, all right, just play it. Like I will say the Big Five arc is the one arc I feel like they just sort of like 4Kids slept on. Like, it's filler. Yeah. It can do whatever it wants. They just let it go too far. But yeah, just the relationship between them, I get it. The idea is that Noah wants Mokuba to shift more towards his direction so he can have like a brother, and Kaiba just sort of left with nothing. And it's all right. It exists. It's there. It's kind of unwanted, but it exists. Afterwards, though, I believe we mostly just get a lot of backstory. Noah, he's been making this plan for a bit. After that, the only really other thing is that Kaiba goes to chase after him, but he's hit with like an illusion, so he doesn't quite find him. And then once that finally does happen, Kaiba ends up meeting face to face with Noah, and the two have a duel. I believe that's the next duel that takes place in this arc. It should be Noah versus Kaiba, I think. Am I right?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Well, actually, no. After Kaiba beats Lecter, we see, in the meantime, while that's happening, Joey and Yugi fight off against the entire Big Five.
Yeah.
And the reason this happens is because the Big Five, since Tristan's body is taken over by Nesbit, Nesbit goes, hey, fellow members of the Big Five, you guys lost, but I took control of Tristan. We can all take control of Tristan together, and then we can just try to duel the others, and if we beat them, we'll get their bodies. And so now Yugi and Joey have to duel the Big Five, a.k.a. Evil Tristan.
Evil Tristan.
It's just so, if you look at this out of context, it looks so weird. Like, if you just watch this episode and not the others, you're just like, wow, Yugi and Joey are dueling Tristan. Like this is definitely a weird episode to walk into Yu-Gi-Oh! On.
Oh my god.
Oh, and each person is taking over the body each time they duel, and I believe that Tristan, I'll say Big Five Tristan. Big Five Tristan has 8,000 life points to compensate for the fact that he's dueling against both Joey and Yugi. And what did you think of this duel overall?
I mean, it was interesting. I don't know, just the whole gimmick of, oh, all of us against one. Like, honestly, I truthfully didn't really care. I was like, let's get back to Kaiba, because that's interesting.
Right.
But no,
This is the one time. This is the one time where Yugi and Joey's plot is the boring one.
Yeah. I was like, I don't care. Like, I want to see Noah and Kaiba.
Right. Yeah. So with me, I believe there was a lot of interesting elements used in this duel. We get me liking the card game the way I did. There's some interesting monsters that are summoned. I do know Mystic Dragon is used again, and I'm like, God, don't these guys get tired of using that thing?
They got one card.
He's like, yeah, they used it the last time, and they lost the last time. They try to go after Joey mostly. They thought Joey was the weaker link out of the two. So, but that wound up being their downfall, actually. Yeah, because they like, it's kind of like they knew that would happen. So Joey mainly was planning on it. So he actually had some pretty good moves against the Big Five. They beat Mystic Dragon using Mirage Knight, which is a combination of Dark Magician and Flame Swordsman after Dark Flare Knight is destroyed. Which, pretty cool monster, I guess. But, yeah, like you said, the Big Five doesn't stand... The Big Five themselves aren't that good at characters in this saga because they're constantly overshadowed by a character that kind of has a lot of lore on his back. Like, Noah has more lore and backstory on him than just, oh, Kaiba lost one duel, now the company's gone under. Like, this is more personal. This is his relationship with the father that they both share, just in two different lights. So, after this duel, I believe, since Yugi and Joey beat the Big Five, they sort of just lose right there, and Tristan... They get out of Tristan's body, and Noah finds out that the Big Five lost again, so this time they get no more chances. Noah deletes them. They're gone. Or at least in the Japanese version. I know in the American versions, they're placed in a portal that encapsulizes them. But but the virtual world gets destroyed anyway, so you might as well have just deleted them. Okay. Point one again for America having a worse fate than the original.
Yes.
Oh goodness. What did you think of all of that?
I mean, it's always so hard to comment on this stuff.
It's the end of the Big Five. That's the only reason I asked you.
Yeah, which I guess is fine because I can't even say if I was watching this with no knowledge of what comes after. Like, I wouldn't even be so sure they're not coming back. Because it's like, this is already the third time we've seen them. Like, are they really dead?
Turns out we get a third Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie in 2020, The Big Five return.
The Big Five. Oh my god, just die.
Like, oh god damn.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, it's the end of the Big Five. You know... I mean,
or is it?
Oh God! Don't do that. Don't. Right. The writers are already making him. But just the Big Five. It's good to see that they were at least consistent. They made it very clear that they were social corporate bigwigs trying to take over Kaiba Corp. They tried multiple times. This is it. This is their end. And they'll be gone. Unfortunately, they had to be together in order to do a Yugi and Joey because unfortunately the Big Five doesn't last that well as separate units.
Right.
Yeah, they gave them faces, which fine, but when they're together, they're a lot more noticeable than when they're like individual parts. The sum of the Big Five makes them a little bit more memorable. Not super memorable to the other villains, but enough to the point where at least you know who they are. And giving them faces only gave them just a little bit more color. But it didn't... I don't think it overall made them as characters.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate, because it's like they had 3 appearances, and they're still not memorable.
Right. And I won't get to the next one just yet, because during all of this, Merrick is having a little fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just blowing shit up.
Yeah, Merrick is literally blowing shit up. I believe he tries to enter a door. What is he doing exactly? Can you, maybe, you're the Merrick fan, elaborate on what the hell Merrick is doing.
Well, because... from what I've heard, that actually works out, because the reason why Serenity, Duke, and Tristan get picked off the boat is because Noah just knows there's 8 duelists. He doesn't know who they are.
Oh.
So that's why, like, Merrick, all the Ishtars are left on the blimp, because he's like, 7, 8, that's 8, okay, cool. So, literally all the important people are left on the blimp.
He rolled a die and got a 1. Like,
yes.
he did not get who he wanted. Could you imagine if someone tried to take over Merrick's body? Oh, God.
That would have been great. Like, put Merrick in there. I want to see
That
him
would have been
try and
actually
kill
really
Noah.
cool, too. Like, that they have to team up with the villain a little bit.
That'd be awesome.
Like, unintentionally, they're on the same side.
Yeah.
Like, Merrick's still flipping evil, but they're sort of, like, wow, I think you just made a better saga.
Let him in.
Let him in. Let him in.
Yeah.
Let me in.
That's pretty much what he does.
Oh,
so.
God.
'Cause he's literally, like, so since Merrick's trapped on the blimp, he's just sitting there, like, I can't believe someone else is trying to kill Yugi. I want to kill Yugi. So he's like just trying to break down doors, and he's
destroying robots and shit.
He's so mad.
I love it. I love just that whole situation. Just, I guess they didn't want to. You know what? They could have easily just left Merrick with no screen time whatsoever. And the weird part is that his destruction does become kind of relevant. So
it does.
We'll get on that when we touch on it. But meanwhile, we cut back and Kaiba and Noah Kaiba. Oh, God, that is his last name, isn't it? They meet Noah Kaiba, but they meet face to face. And one thing I just want to comment on, this has nothing to do with the actual series, but if you're familiar with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series, I love the idea that the car that Noah got hit with is the same car that Serenity was in. when Joey was chasing after her after they had after their parents had the divorce, the car.
Oh my God!
Yeah, the car hits Noah, and that's the one that kills him.
Oh my God!
Like he should be against Joey and Serenity.
That's awful.
You took my life away. Oh, so I don't know. That's my headcanon, because
why not?
It's filler, and no one really identifies what car hit Noah. It's just a car hit Noah. So I like to believe that it was that one.
Oh my God.
Just bam. Oh, but moving on. Yeah, moving on. We have Kaiba versus Noah. Noah's deck master is Shinato's Arc, of course. Because Noah's Arc, biblical reference, not censored by 4Kids. So I guess we'll move on. I guess it's because it's his deck master and it's an actual card, so they can't interrupt with the promoting of a real life Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card.
Yeah.
So
I think actually when I saw, because was it CW or whatever it was called after WB Kids?
Yeah.
It was like rerunning all these on Saturdays, and I swear they had a commercial where they were calling it Noah's Arc, which I thought was a surprise. I was like, I've heard that fans refer to it that way, but I didn't know this, like the actual
the actual dubbing would. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Noah's Arc.
Yeah, so he does that. Kaiba duels Noah, and it's a pretty. What do you think of this duel overall? Just this half of the duel.
It's good because it's got like some more stakes to it, because I care who Noah is, and like Mokuba's pretty much like mind controlled. Where it's like, my brother doesn't love me, Noah loves me. So it's the same thing we've seen 20 times. It's like, Mokuba, I know you're in there.
Yeah.
So
it's really refreshing to see that Kaiba's duel is the most interesting here.
Yeah.
Because normally, obviously, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, the show's called Yu-Gi-Oh!, so Yugi usually has the more interesting duels in the show. So it's really cool to see that Kaiba's duel has the focus here. Unfortunately, because this is called Yu-Gi-Oh! Kaiba had to get petrified in the middle of his own duel. So he's turned into stone right before Mokuba, because Mokuba breaks the mind control because he loves his brother, and yeah, they get turned into stone. So Kaiba does it, like, Noah's like, I won the duel, and I'm like, no, you don't. Kaiba has 400 life points left. You turned him into stone. Like, how is that winning? How is that winning the duel? I don't get it.
Everybody cheats.
Exactly. So Yugi goes, all right, I'm going to continue where Kaiba left off, and I'm going to use his cards. And I'm going to duel you with like 400 life points to your 74 flipping 100. Which is absurd, by the way. I just want to count on how absurd that is. But Yugi duels, and Yugi's getting his butt kicked for the most part. Every turn that he fails to beat Noah, one of Yugi's friends gets turned into stone. What did you think of this duel overall?
I mean, this part's still, at least it has stakes to it. The whole, like your friends will turn into stone, but it's also kind of annoying because it's like, I can only imagine if Kaiba could talk, how pissed off he'd be at Yuki for using his stuff.
Right, yeah. I think
don't touch my fucking cards.
I think the Abridged series made a joke about that, too. It was like Yugi's about to use the blue eyes, and he goes, He's like yelling through the statue. I've always found it weird because, like, Yugi's friends are being turned into stone one by one, and it's not by level of importance or anything. It's just a random setup. I just wanted him to turn Serenity into stone, and Yugi just be like, Serenity! Wait, we never really met. Like, this is our only time meeting.
Who are you?
Who are you? I've known Duke Devlin longer, technically. Oh God! Yeah. But yeah, they all get turned into stone. Yugi wins by oh God, this is so illegal.
This is so illegal.
Yeah, he fuses Blue Eyes White Dragons into Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, attacks the strongest monster, destroys it, then uses defusion in order to make 3 Blue Eyes so that their combined attacks can wipe Noah out, because 3,000 times 3 is 9,000. But you can't attack after your battle phase, so what the fuck? Yugi was in his second main by phase and he used defusion. It's like, you can't attack after that. What?
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, the whole problem with the series is the writers just give the villain too much leeway, so the only way out of it's bullshit.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. Yeah. So Yugi beats Noah, and when Yugi beats Noah, Noah basically is like upset. He's trying to take Yugi's body anyway, by the way, but it doesn't work out. So when it doesn't work out, Gozaburo shows up.
Oh my God.
I wish I was joking about how abruptly I just said that, but it's not. It literally is Gozaburo just shows up.
Yeah.
And,
hey guys.
Yeah, which I guess we can dive on Gozaburu's character because he's the next duel. What do you think of Gozaburo?
I don't know. Like, I guess it makes sense how Kaiba's such a jerk.
Yeah, I was gonna say I see like, a lot of Kaiba in him.
Yeah, which I'm sure Kaiba wouldn't want to hear, but
hey, but the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Gozaburo is a cutthroat businessman. Obviously, he built Kaiba Corp from the ground up. He built weapons to screw with people's lives. Yeah, he's a dick. He's a dick. And he wants Kaiba's body. And he wants to duel Kaiba for the ownership of Kaiba Corp again. Just like when they duel, just like, it's sort of reminiscent of when they had the chess game. Gozaburu's whole gimmick is that he has Exodia, but not Exodia. He has the undead Exodia Necros. And Exodia Necros' whole gimmick is every time you sacrifice one card to the graveyard, Exodia Necros gets stronger for each Exodia piece that's sacrificed. What in the world did you think of Exodia Necros? Or no, not Exodia Necros, Gozaburu's duel with Kaiba involving the Exodia.
It's interesting because isn't it like the setting of the duel? Doesn't it look like where he dueled Yugi?
Yeah,
Kaiba dueled Yugi?
Yeah.
So like that's a
sort
neat
of
parallel.
get in Kaiba's head.
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of like that. The whole setting is like a callback because at least, like we've said, the filler will at least reference old things. It's not completely new stuff, but yeah. I only really remember the end of this duel where it goes really weird. So.
I like this setting as well. I'm glad you mentioned that too. I like the setting of this because it kind of shows how Kaiba's grown as a character. At least in terms of his dueling capabilities. Because last time Kaiba freaked out. Exodia. Yeah, all of that. But now he's more calm. He's more cool. He's more collective. And he thinks more critically now. So now he has a legitimate way to beat Exodia. Even though it's not the real Exodia. It is Exodia Necros. But he uses the trap card Soul Demolition, I believe, in order to remove cards from the graveyard. Which means that Exodia Necros can no longer gain the powers of Exodia, and thus it renders it completely useless. And Kaiba wipes it out. Also, you guys wondering why no Egyptian god cards from either Kaiba or Yugi. All of the cards they pick, by the way, are virtual cards. They make their own deck out of the virtual cards given to them by the Big Five. Which, why did the Big Five just give them weak cards?
Right. Like, I mean, that happens with everything. That happens, like, with the Dungeon Dice monsters, too. It's like, why don't you just try to screw them over at the beginning if you're going to cheat during the duels anyway?
Right, if you're going to be the villain, act like the villain. It's just, oh, God. So, after all of this, though, Kaiba does wind up beating Gozaburo. And during the meantime, out of all of this, I believe Noah takes over Mokuba's body. Noah takes over Mokuba's body by tricking him, and when he tricks him, he tries to launch a bunch of missiles that Gozaburo made a long time ago at the virtual world to destroy it for good. That way he can just say goodbye to everybody. He has victory literally at the palm of his hand, and what happens? He feels bad.
Yeah.
And the whole reason, and you're probably, and then Yugi and the others, they're trapped in their own memories, by the way, because Noah's like, hey, I'll help you defeat my dad, and then all of a sudden, he's like, here, go in this door, and they're just trapped in, like, their old memories. It's so stupid. What did you think of that subplot?
I mean, I guess it's fine, because it's, like, tying back to, like, hey, remember this that we totally took a break from to do this arc instead? But I don't know. It's very almost, well, maybe it's the episode after this or whatever, but there's like random clip show or something. It's just I don't know.
Once they get through this, they realize they've been sleeping in pods the whole time. So everybody leaves except for Yugi, because Yugi's got to check up on Kaiba. Why?
Let him go.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying that Kaiba, like, I'm not saying it to be like, he's a dick thing. I'm sure Kaiba can take care of himself. That's the only reason I say why. It's so awkward that he just sort of is like, I'm going to go help Kaiba. And it's like, Kaiba's been a dick to us since the beginning. What? He's let 4 people almost die in his tournament.
Yeah,
but Yugi goes back, and when Yugi goes back to help Kaiba escape, they help Mokuba escape too, and they leave out. And when they leave out, it's so weird. Gozaburo still continues to chase after them, and we get what I believe is the most heavy metal ass shit ever. So. They're running towards the plane. Yugi, Kaiba, and Mokuba. Kaiba freaking picks Mokuba up, chucks him at the plane. Just yeets him on the plane. Yugi and Kaiba make it. Gozaburo turns into a giant red demon and chases after them. And the whole building catches on fire. Noah has a change of heart because he loves Mokuba. All right. I mean, you had victory at the palm of your hands.
Yeah.
But Noah goes into the virtual system and uses the satellite to redirect the missiles. So they're not gonna. So they're headed towards the virtual world, but they're not gonna kill them. So they manage to escape on the blimp. And while Gozaburu's chasing them, Noah just sort of hacks into Gozaburu's system. It gets so weird. And he's naked.
And he's naked, pretty much.
Yeah, he's naked. And
why not?
Yeah, because why not? And after all of this, though, they think it's over. They leave. They get on the blimp. They're headed out. They're finally out of there. They leave Alcatraz, and then freaking Gozaburo turns into a giant fire and tries to eat the blimp. And they still escape because Kaiba has this emergency button that turns the blimp into a jet. And I'm just like, what the fuck? They finally escape. Oh my god, what do you think of all of that?
It's so bad that it's good.
Yes, it's so over the top. And I think they felt, hey, this is filler. This is the final episode of the filler. Let's run with it. Let's just take it.
Gotta make sure everyone's dead. We're killing them off. They're not coming back.
Yeah.
Just have a giant explosion. That's it.
Let's just Michael Bay this shit. Because that's exactly what they do. Noah, in the end, helps. And I'm a little bugged by Noah helping, though, because it's like, oh, I had a change of heart. I'll help you guys. Go in this door. Ha! Tricked y'all again. And then it's just like, well, then how can we trust you the third fucking time? Oh, boy. Right. But did you have any thoughts on just the trust that they had in Noah?
Yeah, it's kind of a frustrating thing of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, like, I understand, oh, everyone can change, everyone can get better. But at the same time, I'm like, these people screw you over so many times. Like, getting into these situations is kind of preventable at some point.
Yeah. So, at this point, though, they do escape. Mokuba has, like, these flowers that he throws for Noah. Mm-hmm. Alright, cool. Yeah. I guess it's supposed to be, like, a heartfelt thing. But after that we bring the Kaiba backstory and the virtual world Noah. All of it comes to a blazing close. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, what? Just what?
Yeah, what? Well, I think even in the dub they straight up say, like, Kaiba's like, well, okay, enough of that. Back to Battle City. I'm like, that's pretty much how I feel.
Back to business as usual.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, it starts very suddenly, ends very suddenly, and then it's back to what we were waiting for. So it's interesting. Like, it wasn't really bad filler. Like, if I had to watch a filler arc, I'd probably watch this one.
Yeah.
Just because there's a lot going on, but still, it's like, it could have at least tried to pretend it wasn't so blatantly, like, I don't know, easy to just stop thinking about. Okay, that's over.
Yeah, like it had all the materials to be plot relevant.
Yeah.
But it wound up knowing that it was filler, and it decided to act as such a lot of the time. Like, there's so much they could have complimented on, and I think the problem just mostly comes in its position and in the saga. Like, I don't think there was any way they could have positioned this arc to make it so that it be a little bit better. Like, the only possible way I could think of is if this had happened before they made it to the blimp. Mm-hmm. And before the actual finals happened and stuff. But I guess they just couldn't because of the manga. The manga is what is the main culprit here. But at the same time, like you said, this isn't the worst filler Yu-Gi-Oh! Has. In fact, that's coming. Oh god, that is definitely coming, and it is not what you guys think it is, but it is coming. Because it's so unmemorable, I barely forgot that it was a saga, and I almost skipped over it when I was writing the list. But it's there, trust me. This saga, oh boy, it was like the Kaiba lore saves it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It saves it from one of those arcs that I just hate. Like, yeah, granted, I had to do a lot of research in order to remember some events again, but that doesn't necessarily ruin this arc. That just, if anything, it made me realize that Kaiba's character, why everybody likes Kaiba so much as a character.
Yeah.
Because he's gone.
As long as you develop someone, and even though this never comes up again, like, it does make Kaiba a little more fleshed out, a little more sympathetic and stuff. So
yeah, and I'm good with it. I don't know if this is true. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I want to say, like, the writer of Yu-Gi-Oh! I can't remember his name right now. I'm sorry, but I want to say the writer of Yu-Gi-Oh! Was somewhat involved
in this arc.
Yeah, I want to say, like like, I don't want to say they were openly involved, like, oh, they wrote everything down. No, but I want to say they probably lent a hand. They probably were more involved in this arc than we think. Only because it feels so natural. It's a filler saga, yes, but it feels more natural than other filler sagas.
Yeah.
Like normally,
I don't know. That's an interesting question.
Yeah, normally when you watch, filler, there's a hint of that filler-y air. I didn't get that with this one a lot. There was some times, obviously, where they were dealing with the Big Five. That was just like, oh, whatever. But during the Noah stuff, I feel like there was some level of care put into Noah's arc. Pun intended.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Do you think Noah, with his hair and stuff, is a reference to season 0?
I want to believe so, yes. I believe even the abridged series makes a joke about it. Like, he looks like meat from season 0, and then Tristan goes, the forbidden season. I do like the callback. It's kind of weird, though, how a stepbrother and a biological brother can look so similar.
I know.
Yeah. And I never really asked who Kaiba's real parents are. And I guess just because I don't care enough.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Because you would assume with any other character, it's like, oh, well, where's his mom? Where not? But I'm like, yeah, I never really bothered to ask.
I never bothered to ask either. And I think it's better this way. And the reason I say it's better this way is because sometimes shows don't need to close every book. We don't need every bow wrapped around a level of questioning. They're orphans, which means they don't know where their parents are, which helps us relate to them more because we don't know who their parents are. I hate when shows at last minute try to go, oh, yeah, this character was the son of an all-powerful da-da-da-da-da-da. Like Dragon Ball's done that, unfortunately. And it's just like, oh, like, you know what? I like the idea that they just had to deal with what they had to deal with. Like, Gozaburo was their father. He definitely wasn't the greatest father, but he was their father. And sometimes people just have shitty parents.
That's a good point.
That's life. I don't want to hear, like, years from now, oh, Kaiba's parents were secretly worshippers of the Blue Eyes White Shrine, and they had to give up Mokuba and Kaiba to live their lives, and fucking that. Like, no, I like the idea that they couldn't take care of the kids anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Great backstory on the two Kaibas, mostly Seto, and, a decent story. A real decent story. And with that, we finally close the book on it. We never have to talk about it ever again. We are done. Do you have any closing thoughts on it, or is that it for you?
No, that's it for me, because then it's back to Battle City.
Yeah, we are back. And now that we've escaped whatever that was, we will be tackling the Battle City semifinals. So it's back to business as usual. Oh, and I forgot to reference what Merrick did. So because Merrick destroyed, because Noah tried to escape before with the blimp and everything, but the computer was messed up, and the computer was messed up because Merrick broke it.
Yeah.
So Merrick was...
I think that's so funny, because he seriously, he pops into a control room, he's like, what's this? And he just starts smashing shit. And, like, the warning goes off, like, oh, a bomb's gonna explode. And he's just like, cool. And he just, like, sits in his room. I'm like, dude, you're gonna die too. Like, you're kind of an idiot. But, yeah, so Noah, even though Noah feels bad, someone has to die, so can't fix it.
Right. So, yeah, but, oh boy. Yeah, it's funny to note that Merrick did unintentionally do something to help the others.
His one confirmed kill is the other villain.
Right. So, yeah, well, with that said, it's back to business. They faced Merrick as if he didn't just was chilling in the blimp all this time. I kind of wish they had done it in a way to where time wasn't moving, because then it feels so awkward that they left Merrick on the ship this long.
Yeah.
Like, Kaiba's like, oh shit, who wrote on my disc? Merrick was here, bitch. Oh god. But yeah, they just get back to business as usual. This arc, the Noah's arc kind of messes with the flow of the actual overarching plot, though. But we'll talk about that more when, we return back to Battle City. So in the meantime, we've got the Battle City semifinals on its way. Yugi, Joey, Merrick, Kaiba. And with that said, thank you so much, Natalie, for joining me.
Thank you.
All right, so it's time to Drew, YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr. Check her out. Check out our content. She's posting tweets left and right about Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh boy.
So, check all of that out. We'll see you all then in the next video, which is Battle City Part 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see you all then, everybody. Tyrone the God 3